Mhm. Yo, what's up, folks? Know what it is. This is Mr. Spice, and this is Sneaky Spice. You know what's gonna happen this figure? It's Sneaky Spice. I'm going solo net, excuse me. I'm going solo network, WGSN. I'm gonna go ahead and send off a couple invites real quick. Give me a moment. So, what's up, folks? Know what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and send off a couple invites real quick. Give me a moment. So, what's up, folks? Know what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and send off a couple invites. We're gonna call it ways of connecting. And I gotta. We'll call it ways of connecting. So yeah, CC, I'm gonna go ahead and run it back again so you can start it. And I gotta, once I get done, we'll call it ways of connecting, pushing out all the shares and stuff. So yeah, CC, I'm gonna go ahead and run it back again so you can start it. Once I get done, pushing out all the shares and stuff. So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and run it back again so you can start. Okay. I had a couple of radio stations I like, video pages I like to put it on. They be liking some of the content. Yeah, we always gonna have to motivate some folks, man. So we kept it. Las Vegas Kings Club. And yeah, we always gonna have to motivate some folks, man. Couple radio stations live every day. Okay. Las Vegas. Yeah, what up, folks? Y'all know what it is. This is Simply Spice. Good Mr. Spice. Hey, you know this is cool with WGSN going solo network. I'm so tongue tied today. What's going on with me? But I had a very interesting date that I wanted to share with you guys, and it kind of led me to have a couple ongoing thoughts towards the ways that they connected. But so I was in a gym and ran into this lady, looking very amazing, working out real hard. And I noticed her about 2 weeks prior before we ended up, going on this date. Maybe it might have been 4 weeks though. But so when the reason why or how it popped off or that we were going on this date, I seen a post. She said she wanted to go take someone on a date. The places I would like to go for a date was a little bit more expensive, so I didn't want her to pay for my meal. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and go on a date. It was nice. It was nice. I liked it. I thought it was fun. So when we went on the date, it kind of was some things that I wasn't expecting. Okay, so first things first that I didn't expect. I pull up, you know what I'm saying, and when I get to her house, I text her. So as I'm texting her, 5 minutes later go by. She hits me back because I told her I was outside. She says, "Are you gonna knock on the door?" That's where I'm firstly confused. I'm like, "I'm outside, but you just don't come out." This, that, and the third. I was okay. So real confused about that. It might make sense a little bit later. But so she comes out. We end up going to the car, walking down the driveway, and she was walking real slow. I greeted her, told her what's up, told her she looked nice. She did. She looked like she was about to go on stage too. She got a lot of compliments that night. But she just stood by the car door. And then we had this very weird, awkward kind of look. It was like, are you going to open the door for me? Yeah. So that words weren't exchanged. And honestly, just to be honest with you, I've never really opened the door for a woman before. So only time, it was one time, it was prom. And there's like establishment doors a woman doesn't need to touch, for sure. I got that. As far as like a car door, I've never done that before. So that felt a little, felt a little weird to me. And maybe it should be normalized. I don't know. That's another topic. But we end up leaving. So we just take off. And where we're going is a seafood spot. And, there's probably to get like the king crab and the lobster tails. And you got to spend like 60, 70 bucks. So I didn't want her to pay for that. But while we're on the way there, this is where things kind of, turned as well. Not even turned, I should say. That's a bad choice of words. It was another cultural difference, or I should say, or generational difference, because she's a little older than I was. I found out that she was 12 years older than me. So I wasn't aware, or we've grown up in different dating areas, just like we had that show the other day. Now there's a kind of perception that I have, or a experience that I have with two dating era differences, or different generations in dating. So we're sitting there talking, and we end up going to make the reservation. They wouldn't let us have the reservation, so we end up having to go to the beer. We'll set our go have a beer, wait for our reservations. So we had to go sit down. She said she was going to take me out, by the way. So we go sit down to the bar. We're talking back and forth. I find out she has 6 kids. Now, I personally, she looks amazing, by the way. I probably would have guessed like 2. So yeah, it was crazy. But we're talking back and forth. She says that one of her things is that she was really looking for her person. And her person, like me and Cece alluded earlier, has to be social to an extent. Can't be jealous if you like social connections with people. You like people that aren't going to be jealous or know how to control their emotions and things like that. But you can kind of identify that she likes a social person. We wanted to, like, mentally, I really didn't get a chance to ask her about what kind of book she was reading, but she just by like what we were talking about, she does more of fitness books. She does like studies with taking care of the body, and I greatly appreciated those conversations because I'm all about that. So that would be a connection mentally. And it could be even intellectually, but those are kind of like minute changes. There's really only 5 ways that a person can connect. And while we were sitting there, I kind of felt like we would probably only connect on 2, maybe 3. So 5 ways. And this is all, I'm thinking all of this while, we're drinking a beer, I'm having a conversation, but it's crazy. Say when you have like 17 tabs open in your head at one time, then you got some stuff going. So I had a couple going. But while I was thinking that, I was like, yeah, we're only going to get about 2 or 3 different connections, I believe. Like we'll connect Mentally, I would say, because we both like to work out, we both like to take care of ourselves. I can talk to her about eating right, eating well. She's probably going to help me be a little more disciplined as far as my diet as well. It's not bad. My diet's pretty good right now, but I'd be better like that. But a couple other things, like I was still having to open that door every time. I've never done that, and it kind of bothered me. It bothered me. Is that weird? Please tell me. Let me know. Is it? But I did. Then bat an eye and did it with a smile. It was a good evening, but it kept coming. It kept coming. Um, so we get to dinner. They end up calling us like an hour later. When we got to the seafood joint, um, this is when she starts getting a lot of compliments. So I'm getting to watch her, how she starts taking compliments. That's kind of a big thing for me too. Knowing how to, thank people, appreciate people, do so in a timely manner, because I'm going to be moving and doing a lot of things. And, sometimes you're probably going to have to be able to like communicate with some people that are helping us doing what we need to get done. So the way you handle people is very important to me. Uh, so the first compliment she had got when we walked in, because she was a little subconscious about her attire. She had like uh, it was like a see-through blouse, but she had her goodies covered with like a sexy bra. This shit had like nice. It had like the general, old school general collars on the shoulder. It was, but it was a pretty good one. Had a little bit of polka dots on there. Uh, I think she had a bow tie on as well. But she came with it. But it ended up being like a skirt. So yeah, it was a nice skirt at the bottom. It was solid. But she was subconscious about it because she felt like she was overdressed. And I came pretty good. I thought I did decent. Um, and when we got there, or when I was talking about her compliments, when we got there, she didn't like it, so she kind of walked in a little hesitant. But the lady at the register in the front gave her a compliment. So our waiter gave her a compliment. The person that came and cleaned up our food gave her another compliment. And it's weird though. They keep giving her compliments and telling me, oh yeah, like having cool conversation with me. But we're going back and forth. I'm enjoying it. We're all enjoying ourselves. And so I'm noticing that she's starting to calm down. So the way she was still humbled and but very cute about it. It was very refreshing. It was refreshing for sure, for sure. I had to respect her as a lady because she was doing all of that. But so with our mental connection, cool. Our social connection, that was that was a good sign for right there for sure for our social connection. Now, the ways that I believe that we wouldn't be able to connect, and I kind of didn't get a chance to go into it with her, but I kind of like assumed, I guess. I kind of guess, and I don't know how good that is because I haven't called her in a couple of days about it. Talk to her about the date. I'm not sure. um, so emotionally, I'm just not sure if we would be compatible. And that's tough to say, just to be honest with you, because um, I really didn't get a chance to talk to her as much as I wanted to, or ask her certain questions that you can get emotional answers from. And just for reference, I don't like to judge anybody until see them in a situation that they can't control. So, because a lot of people can put up a lot of fronts. So, like, it's kind of hard to tell who is who until they're in positions that require them to compromise or require them to move with the currents and things like that. That's when you're going to really get a test of the person, of who that person really is. So socially, without going back to our date, socially, I can't make too much assessment on it because the environment was pretty controlled. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, we kept going hookah bar to hookah bar. This was after we ended up eating. And they were all full capacity. They weren't letting nobody else in. So we was driving around for like a whole hour before we even got a chance to sit down. We ended up stopping at like 5 different locations. So if I run that back, she was in a situation she couldn't control, and she handled that pretty well. If you ask me, it was pretty solid because or maybe because she did just have a nice meal and she was just chilling. But we went Dutch, by the way. There was expensive meals. I told her that she was at first going to take me, but I didn't want her to pay for me because we was going to go to a pretty good place. So she had a cool meal, and that probably could be the reason why she was chill. But nonetheless, we were in a situation we couldn't control. She handled herself pretty well, so that's another notch on the social connection side. So I'm thinking about it. Oh, that's pretty cool. But check this out real quick. We're going to take a couple breaks, a couple moments, pay a couple bills. This is WGSN Going Solo Network. We'll be right back. Sunday's game, established in the Rams at SoFi Stadium, coming up right after the game. Yo, it's Hannah, man. Y'all know what it is, and we right back. We're talking about the ways of connecting. This is WGSN Going Solo Network. This is Thinking Twice with Mr. Twice. We was talking about ways of connecting with people. I was kind of taking a stroll down my date that I had, which was it was getting better and better now that I'm thinking about it. Now, with my date, and at this point in time, we had already ate. We're moving around the city looking for a place to go chill. We ended up going to this hookah lounge that they were all packed. We ended up having to go down to this place by the South Point. If you guys are out here from Vegas, it's out by the South Point. It was ducked off, secluded. Nobody was out there. So we get up there, and it was a dry bar. So pretty much there's no alcohol in there, just a hookah lounge. So we sit down, walk in there, and as we walk in there, we had to sit right at the front. I don't mind sitting at the front. That's not my preference, but we're boom, right there. So not too many people are there. Like I said, when we're right in the front, everyone just really relaxes and chills, and she's really chilling too. So seeing that, if she can notice that I'm a little, watching everybody, but she can still chill, that maybe she wasn't watching me, or maybe she was just, had some, some confidence, and she was comfortable with me. So, or I was playing it cool. I don't know, but I liked that as well. That was a good sign. So we sit down, we smoke some hookah, we're talking things we like to do, things she likes to study. Now, when you are trying to connect with somebody mentally, You have to ask like what kind of books they like to read, what kind of articles. Because some people don't even like to read it off. They like audiobooks. Those are totally have totally different meanings. Now, with audiobooks, a person that would rather listen to an audiobook, they are more on the go. It's hard for them to slow down. Their attention kind of gets drifted and warded a lot easier than individuals that actually read books. So if you get that correlation, you put that together, you'll be able to. You'll be able. I wouldn't say have better conversations, but they'll be able to stay focused for longer, more often than not. Those that read books. So make sure you got to read those books and not just listen to those audiobooks, because reading helps you trigger those different types of neurons in your brain. Now, back to my date. Yeah, so we making sure everybody that emotionally, mentally, physically, we're just trying to correct it all. We're just trying to not even correct it all, just give you a different perception of it all, and then you can make your own best decision from there. Inside and out, that's what we talking about. Gotta be. Now, back to my date. Well, now, while I'm talking to her, this is the moment I find out that she has, our age difference, and that she has like 6 kids. Now, I didn't get a chance to. Oh yeah. Listen, what up? Message for sure. Now, there's like I said, there's some questions I didn't get a chance to ask. Yeah, for sure. That was the only time. And then and to smoke some hookah for sure. Yeah, everywhere you go, you gotta have this mask. That's a protocol for sure. But back in my day, while we were at the hookah lounge, feet up, I had to go smuggle in a couple little wines, because it was a dry bar, and she went with it. So she was a bad girl. So I had to check the box that makes it says rider. She might be a rider. I don't know. But yeah, though, it was pretty fun. Now, I said that we connected mentally, emotionally. I had a couple notches. Socially, had a couple notches. Now, I don't spiritually is a totally different way of connecting. Now, spiritually, you have like the same beliefs. You have the same types of, drives and determination factors. Like, if you give up on things easily, then that is your spirit. If you get down on yourself a lot, that's your spirit. You know, or even if you talk to people a certain type of way, that's your spirit. And it could go into socially as well. But when if you aren't spiritually in tune, like I said, you're going to be able to give up easy. So those kind of connections have to be there as well. Now, just based upon the fact that she is a good, very well in the gym. She's excellent trainer. She I think she teaches yoga, small kind too. So spiritually, we probably could have a connection. Dang, did I just flake on a good date? I did, man, huh? So spiritually, if we end up wanting to connect with someone spiritually, we got to make sure we get around people that have faith, gotta believe in something. Those people are grounded. If they don't ever believe in something, like They'll fall for anything. Ain't that how that's it? So yeah, you want those people grounded. You want people to, if you meditate, pray, your your ability to focus, that comes with spiritual connection as well. So really, really think about those kind of people. Control, that has to come with your spirit. When you get a bunch of power, you have to be able to control yourself. And there's certain factors in certain ways to be able to help someone control. Delaying instant gratification, like, look, if you can watch somebody while they're trying to delay instant gratification, or that's something that if you can do, that's part of your spirit, and you got to practice those. And not even practice, you got to teach it early. Teach it early. That's going to in turn build your patience, in turn build the faith, in turn going to build that belief and confidence. So everything is kind of almost tied in, but they one or two factors can boost, other categories. Like, so maybe one factor has a notch in two different categories. So especially when you start talking about the intricacies of connecting with somebody. And so we talked about the 4 ways of connecting. Well, there's actually 5, and everyone knows connecting physically. I will say this though: when you hold hands, they say that's a way of connecting. I personally don't like to hold hands. Or maybe that's even a social connection because you're holding hands socially, I guess, or who knows. But yeah, I'm not a hand holder. But people are still like a physical connection, like, nice big hugs, or some people like to be embraced. So connecting physically does help somebody. So like, actually there were studies. There was this infant, twins, matter of fact. This wasn't a study, but this was what happened actually. And I probably will talk about a couple studies. We'll talk about it, who knows. But these 2 infants, one was dying. They didn't know what to do. All the tests were going. So what happened was they just put the twins together, and the one that was unhealthy and starting to wasn't feeling well recovered and started growing stronger, while the twins were back together. They were holding hands, right, or right in the incubator, and it was an incredible sight. So us as human beings, we need those physical connections. Like, we need somebody there. And a lot of people try to be independent, kind of going off topic, but being independent, when we are communal creatures, we have to be able to learn how to connect with one another. Because if we try to disassociate our connections with people, then we're doing ourselves disservices. We're built to connect. We're the species with the greatest form of communications, and we're not trying to connect. And so that always gets me. Always gets me. Now, with the 5 ways of connecting. Number 1, you have to figure out how you're going to connect with your person, or the person you're going on your date with. No, so it's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and socially. So a couple ways you want to find how you want to find out. Socially, you guys go on a date, and number 1, ask them a couple questions. So this is a great question I like to ask, and it will kind of tell you how they are socially. It will kind of tell you how they are mentally, with the right with the right information. So I like to ask them, would you rather be the best player on the worst team or the worst player on the best team? And their answer often will give you a lot of information on who they are, what they value. And once you start understanding values, you can categorize what's important to that person. They also say go check on a person's Instagram too. Hey, if you see a lot of photos, whatever they have a lot of photos of, or their camera roll, whatever they have a lot of photos of, that's what they value. So don't be going through your man's or your girl's phone now. See what they value. Just go ahead and trust her. Trust them. Do that. But so when you want to connect socially, those are the ways you want to go. Or one question you can ask. I'll ask again, just in case you missed it. Would you rather be the best player on the worst team or the worst player on the best team? And then make sure to ask them why. Because when you ask them why, that's when they start, getting those gears grinded. Now, spiritually, remember, it's about to focus. Mentally, you guys like to study. Like, you know what else is really important to me mentally as well? Wanting to be a better person, like than who you were the day before. Like, I've had situations where I intrigue her to think, and she doesn't take that thought any further. So, like, sometimes people will give us a breadcrumb, and if we go move forward with that breadcrumb, maybe we might go find the whole loaf. But that is something that we have to do as well, especially when you want to be mentally attractive. Take thoughts one step further. Start adding value to a situation. Like, you should come into a situation. How can I add value? One way, one phrase I like to say is, I've heard it through the grapevine. I read so many books. The most valuable player, the MVP. Matter of fact, I believe Robert Greene. Was it Robert Greene? No. I'm gonna tell you now, but the MVP is the most valuable player. But if you want to be the MVP, you have to add the most value. You're bringing the most to the table. You're adding better thoughts to people, because the most important thing right now, if you're thinking about the most valuable resource, and this is why a mental connection is so important to me, always has been, and it just kind of validates it. The most valuable resource on this world, on this earth, used to be oil. It's not oil no more. The most valuable piece of information, the most valuable asset, resource, the most valuable resource, I forgot it, is information. I kind of already told it, so I'm super mad. But the most valuable resource is information. So with those mental connections, you're talking about the highest type of connections that you should be having. It is going to be for the good, for the better. And how to be better? Add more value in the situation. You got to be the MVP. That's important to me. Don't leave thoughts just at one place. Like, move forward with it. Add some value into everybody around you, and watch how valuable your life will get. So that mental connection, that social connection, that spiritual connection, now that emotional connection is pretty good too, because you have to know how to control your emotions. One benefit of controlling your emotions would be you start to slow down time. A lot of people panic, start missing details because they're, letting their emotions take over them. But when you learn how to control your emotion, you start catching those details that were once missed. You're not the person running around, but you're the person watching who's running around. You're watching where the problems are coming from. You're assessing the situation before you're acting, opposed to just acting. That's when you take that leap into emotional freedom. And that's important as well. Those are the emotional standpoint that we have to take into consideration is that we can't let our emotions run us. Now, there's 6 basic emotions. Everything else stems under this 6. Now, Erykah Badu said there's only 2, but I believe there's 6. So it's joy, fear, shame, envy. Oh man, I forgot. I had to pull up my notes. Oh, sadness, and anger. So, and the interesting thing about anger, it's very interesting, and that's something you should address and watch when somebody gets angry. Now, anger, number one, when someone's angry, it changes their values. So really make sure to watch somebody when they're angry, because the things they care about or they say they care about may not be that much of a priority when they are angry. So kind of watch that when other people are angry, because that's when you can, like I said, around a situation they can't control. And the interesting part about that is another thought about anger, which is our emotions and how we connect with people emotionally. When you have anger, or if you ever notice somebody that is angry, or whenever you are angry, it's because you're in a situation that you don't have control of. So when we don't have control, we tend to get angry, we tend to get frustrated. So we have to make sure to watch how people act when they don't have control of a situation. And remember, once we start to learn how to control, and once we start to learn how to control our anger, we start to realize that we don't need to get mad at or upset at things we can't control. And that's big, but that's an emotional, but it can run into, mentally as well. So they actually call it, EQ. They got IQ, intelligence quotient. When you start to understand your emotions, it's called intelligence quotient. And they say that 90% of celebrities are very emotionally intelligent. So you want to, or even just powerful people in general, 90% of them are very emotional intelligent. So there's a couple things that, we have to make sure to know when we're talking about, our emotions. Now, just as I don't want to say a reminder, just as a hint or a note or a side note, I should say, when we're speaking about those emotions, another one that I really, really take notice to is jealousy. And not just jealousy, or a lot of people can be jealous of stuff that you have. Some people get jealous of the stuff people say, even like your status, or how people feel about you. A lot of people get jealous, but jealousy, I believe, is the weakest emotion. And I'd like for you to tell me if any good has ever come out of jealousy. because I haven't seen any good come out of jealousy. Somebody tell me if you've ever seen good come out of jealousy. Now, when you have an understanding of those 6 emotions, I'm gonna read them off again. It goes fear, anger, shame, joy, sadness, and jealousy. When you have an understanding of these emotions, you'll have a better vision to see how other people are connecting or how your person on your date is connecting. So have an understanding of the different emotions. You understand those actions. And once you understand the actions, you'll be able to have a understanding of where the actions are coming from. Is it coming from joy? Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from jealousy? And you'll be able to kind of almost pinpoint where a lot of those insecurities come from there. And it tells you. And they tell you for sure. Especially when you're, watching emotionally. But being emotional or letting your actions be dictated by your emotions, not a good thing. Not a good thing. But the date was amazing. Now that I'm thinking about it, because there was a bunch of good signs, a bunch of good ways that we connected, mentally, physically. Well, not physically. We had a hug. Physical thing I didn't like is opening the door. So why don't I like that? Why is that bad? Help me. So mentally, we had some good connections. Emotionally, socially, spiritually, those were all ways we connected well. There was nothing bad. I just, man, maybe I should call her, tell her hi, because we had a great day. It was an amazing day. It was really cool. Real nice chill. But I haven't called her. Maybe I will. I appreciate these talks. Yeah, you guys rock. Make sure that when you're looking to connect with somebody, make sure you know how to connect with yourself. Know your love languages. Know how you like to be handled, and know your boundaries as well. When you start to learn your boundaries, you're protecting the other people from you so that they can get the best of you. That's pretty much what boundaries do. Boundaries make sure that people get the best of you. So make sure to set those boundaries, have fun, go on some interesting dates, do stuff different. And I'd like to know all about it. You can, text me, comment me, write them. Maybe we can talk about it on the show. Again, it's WGSN Going Solo Network. I'm Mr. Twice. We had a real interesting day. Taught everybody how to recognize a few ways of connecting. Maybe we'll take a deeper dive into it another day. And we out of here. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all keep thinking twice.